Hi there, I'm Jim, and I am here to give my final project video on speaking to grief. Um, Speaking to grief, why is it so difficult? There are so many different emotions that can be running through the bereaved mind or your mind before you're starting to have this conversation. This person that have just lost a loved one could be just so sad and not want to have a conversation at all. They could be happy, remembering the joyous occasions that and memories that they had with their loved one. They could be mad. They can be so distraught they don't even know what to think, say, or do. So there's a lot of emotions that you have to be aware of, even in a simple 5-minute conversation in passing. That's why I think so many people can be intimidated by not knowing what to say. And so a lot of times they just don't say anything at all. And that intimidation factor really can drive someone to stray away from somebody that they've known. They just had a death in their family and they don't want to say the wrong thing or do the wrong thing to upset them even further. And some people might think that they're doing better by not saying anything at all, or not giving a phone call, but really that can be very hurtful because this person is going through a tumultuous time and they're feeling alone and they're already suffering a loss. They don't want to lose any more. And really, from my personal perspective, I have a hard time. Like, how can I empathize with a friend, say, who just lost their dad? My father's still living, so I don't know how I can really empathize with this individual, because I can still call my dad. I can have conversation with him. I can give him a hug the next time I see him, and this person can't anymore. They've lost that, and so how can we empathize with that? And really, the short answer is you really can't. I mean, you can empathize as much as best you can, but you might not have a total, complete 100% understanding. And this is why really I call it the KISS method. Just keep it simple, stupid. And there's many things in life that you can use the KISS method for, but I think talking to a bereaved is one of them. It's just the expectation that you may have that you can take away the grief of someone who has just lost someone by saying a cliche remark or throwing out some Bible verses. That's really just, it's an unreasonable expectation, and you just can't. What I did find, though, is in on goodgrief.org, they had a blog that was really great. It touched on ways to conversate with bereaved. The blog was called Talking to Someone Who is Grieving, and really it just gave certain aspects of what to expect and what to do when talking with someone that's grieving. And one of the biggest things that they talked about was be genuine. It's okay to not have the words, to not have the right things to say, but by being present in the moment with that person and genuinely being sorrowful for the individual, they can help you can help alleviate some of that stress on that person. Just knowing that you're there, listening to them, being an ear to bend, and just listening closely to the stories that they want to tell you, and just asking questions about the deceased. If you knew them or if you didn't know them, have that person tell you stories about the person. They long to share that person's story with you. So being an ear to listen to that is just a great way to help them through that. Let them tell the stories, and then if you knew the individual who passed away, share your stories of that individual. This there might be stories that the bereaved had never heard of yet until you tell them that. So that was another great tool of helping, of conversation with people that are bereaved. And another thing was just being understanding. um, I try to use the phrase getting into their bucket, which the term was coined from Doug Manning's book, The Power of Presence, helping people help people. Doug is just a mountain full of knowledge and experience. He was a minister for over 30 years before really becoming a counselor, an author, a publisher, and a business executive. And Doug actually started his own publishing company called Insight Books Inc. or Incorporated, excuse me. But Insight Books specializes in books and videos that help people navigate through hard times, especially grieving times. And Doug and his books and his publishing company really are a great resource to have when seeking advice in the grieving department. And really, that's another thing that you can do that's helpful to people who are grieving is just, don't overthink it. Being empathetic and getting into the bucket and trying to just really feel how they would feel, putting yourself into their shoes, getting into their bucket and having a different perspective on death and what they're going through. Just being present, listening to them, listening to the stories that they want to share. Really, I always like to say it. The good Lord gave us two ears and one mouth for a reason. Just use your ears, listen to that person, let them speak, let them tell the stories, share their stories, and really, in reference to Doug, just having references or resources to share with the bereaved that you can say, hey, look, this is not just something that is my opinion. I found this here, and sharing some of Doug's books or sharing, the goodgrief.org website, and just letting them go and explore some of the options and some of the different resources that they have in grieving would be so beneficial, because then they can do that on their own time and they don't have any pressure. You're not steering them into something that they don't want to do quite right then. So those are my tips. Those are kind of my opinions and strategies on talking and communicating with people who are going through the grieving process. And I hope this helps out. Thank you.